Considering the long wait that these thrash metal legends have bestowed upon their fans after the energetic, somewhat melodic return to Terup's predecessor, Blood In Blood Out, it would be hard to expect that the cult of a personality that is Gary Holt could deliver something mediocre like the Atrocity albums again. Despite the overall quality of the material, riffs, lyrics, on the latter, they've been arguably dimmed by the raspy vocal approach of Dukes, which has seemingly stained those records so much that they had been received sub-lukewarm by most Exodus fans, to say the least. The return of the anticipated by many, including the author of this review, Steve Zetro, to the band in 2014 has ignited the hope in the followers of this riot act all around the world, and has arguably added a legion of its new adepts due to Steve's more sound vocal manner. A false statement would be to say that the review's author does not enjoy the outputs of this band during Dukes' era. However, I have been more than pleased to hear Zetro's return on the band's 2014 record. His approach to barking out the lyrics is much more fitting, and perhaps it even describes the band's unrelenting onslaught that is poured onto the unexpecting listener from album to album due to the mere fact that Zetro's voice, has become iconic. The subliminal notion that Steve had found his vocal niche way back when and has pretty much stayed true to it and hasn't strayed away comforts fans. It is even more surprising to hear his vocal experiments on this record, because right from the first track Steve goes into this almost growl-like manner of shouting the chorus of the song, which I can't call unfitting, rather unexpected. The sporadic experiments continue on throughout the record, as Zetro goes from high pitches to almost extremely low, which adds to the diversity of the songs, making their choruses and bridges indeed various and catchy. A feature worthy of noting are the doubled vocal lines on some songs' choruses, like The Years of Death and Dying, where high and low pitches blend together creating the ambience for the underlying guitar melody, a solution not typically used by Exodus. It's now the time for the traditional guitar sound opinions, and my opinion is that the sound on this album hits one in the face hard. Period. It would be unwise to expect something else from Gary, a person obsessed by, in his words, crunchy ass guitars and fast double bass. The delivery of the guitar riffs is great, starting with the intro riff of the main theme song and ending with the last banger, Antecede. The technicity of the performance is excellent. Something, in my opinion, sounding less convincing are the solos. During almost all of the songs Gary continues to spin the idea of his 5 licks that have made his career, lol. In no way do I criticize Gary for that, considering that this is one of the merits that I personally admire Holt for honesty, but I still think he could have tried to leave his comfy box and explore something beyond the quick, 3-note minor pentatonic and harmonic minor licks. Where his harmonic minor skills do shine, though, are during the solo of the song Fires of Division. The rest of the lead material is pretty Exodus generic, if you know what I mean. The drums on the other hand are something to behold, considering Tom's age and the torment that he's been going through lately at the time of the review's writing. This is indeed one of his most technical and probably fastest records that he's ever played on. I can recall Tom saying in one of Dukes' videos, during the recording sessions of the second Atrocity exhibition that Atrocity B was the fastest record they'd ever done, and that we can't go any faster unless we start doing blast beats and shit. Well, the closest that their latest opus comes to blast beats is during the title song's chorus and at the start of Clickbait, and the album still manages to outrun the Atrocity B speed-wise. The sole conclusion that can be made by the review's author after listening to the record is that it is subjectively outrageous to realize that the band did not gain its place among the great 4, expanding the latter to 5 or replacing one of its contestants, with both cases equally acceptable. There's really not much else to say about the 1-hour-long masterpiece that this by all means legendary band has managed to spawn forth. Being a long record that most other Exodus's outputs are, it does not feel like that, with all 12 songs playing their lengths on listeners' single breath, partly due to their variety and melodicism. A must-hear in my opinion.